The deepest parts of the forest do not belong to humanity. They do not recognize our laws, our cities, or our kings. We imagine the wilderness as a resource to be tamed. But the ancient world knew that if you venture too far into the shadows of the trees, you cross a sacred boundary. Myths and legends. Artemis. Before her twin brother ever drew his first breath in the light of Delos, she was already awake. Born moments earlier on the floating rock, the infant Artemis stepped immediately into a world defined by survival. She watched her mother writhe in the agonizing labor imposed by the Queen of Heaven, and in that blood-lit dark, she did not cry out for comfort. Instead, she assisted in the delivery of her own brother, Apollo. It was a birth forged in trauma and isolation, setting her path far away from the gilded palaces of Olympus. While her brother moved toward sanctuaries, music, prophecy, and the ordered world of men, Artemis turned her back on civilization. From the beginning, she stood before the King of Heaven and demanded her eternal gifts. A tunic short enough to run through the brush, a pack of razor-fanged hounds from the god of the wild, and a silver bow forged by the Cyclopes in the subterranean fires. She did not ask to rule, she asked for autonomy. To enter her woods without reverence was to invite a swift and terrifying butchery. The prince and hunter Actaeon learned this code in the damp, shaded valleys of Gargaphia. After a long day of chasing stags through the heat, the mortal wandered off the marked path, tracking the sound of running water until he stumbled into a secluded, moss-covered grotto. There, in a pool of crystal-clear water, Artemis was bathing alongside her nymphs. The air turned dead silent as the mortal eye breached the divine boundary. Actaeon did not speak. He did not move. But the offense was already complete. Artemis did not reach for her bow. She simply scooped up a handful of water and threw it into the hunter's face. The transformation was instantaneous and horrific. Antlers burst from his forehead. His skin grew coarse with fur. His voice melted into a terrified bray. She transformed him into the very prey he spent his life hunting. And as he fled through the thicket, his own pack of 50 hunting hounds caught the scent of blood, tearing their own master to pieces while the goddess watched from the shadows, unmoved by his silent screams. Her silver bow, however, was not reserved only for territorial defense. It was the absolute weapon of filial vengeance. When the giant Tityos, driven by a madness of lust, ambushed her mother Leto on the road to Delphi, the earth itself shook under his massive stride. He tore at the garments of the Titaness, his immense strength pinning her to the mountain pass. But Leto's cry had barely echoed through the valley before the twins materialized on the ridges above. Artemis did not hesitate. Her silver bowstring snapped with a dry, metallic ring. She loosed a volley of arrows alongside Apollo, their projectiles cross-hatching the sky in a lethal web of silver and gold. The arrows sank deep into the heart of the giant, dropping his massive body into the dirt like a falling cliff face. For Artemis, her family was a sacred circle, and she would unmake any creature, mortal, monster, or giant, that dared to breach its perimeter. This absolute intolerance for human arrogance brought kingdoms to their knees. When King Agamemnon slaughtered a sacred stag in her grove and boasted that his skill surpassed that of the goddess of the hunt, Artemis did not strike him down with an arrow. She did something far more devastating. She took the wind. 1,000 Greek warships sat stranded in the harbor of Aulis, their sails hanging limp in a stagnant, rotting heat that threatened to ruin the greatest invasion in history. The seers revealed the only cure. The king had to sacrifice his own eldest daughter, Iphigenia, to pay for the stag. The knife was raised on the altar. The army watched. At the final bleeding stroke, a thick mist descended upon the shore. When it cleared, the girl was gone, replaced by a bleeding deer. Artemis had extracted her toll in psychological horror, demonstrating to the kings of the earth that their grand wars meant nothing compared to the absolute sovereignty of the wild. Now, the narrative deepens into human truth. Artemis is the personification of the silent frontier. She represents the ancient, necessary boundary between humanity's expansion and the cold, unyielding laws of nature. She is the protector of the young, the guardian of untamed spaces, and the moon that cuts through the pitch-black terror of the night. We need her myth, because it reminds us that there must be spaces we do not pave, secrets we do not expose, and boundaries we do not cross. She is the reminder that nature is not our mother. It is an independent sovereign, and if we lose our reverence for the wild, the hounds we train will eventually turn and consume us in the dark. The hunter of the moon vanishes into the deep brush, her silver bow slung across her back. The forest is quiet, the boundaries hold. But while she guards the silence of the trees, a copper shield is clashing in the distance, and a low, bloody drumbeat is echoing from the fields of iron, waiting for the slaughter to begin. Myths are not records of the past. They are mirrors of the human mind, passed down, reshaped, and remembered, long after the world that created them disappeared.